Hello and thank you for joining me for this demonstration of how to provision a Poly handset to the correct service. In this video we'll look at the process you'll need to follow in order to provision your Poly VVX device to the telephony service your business is using, for example 8x8 or Horizon. As you can see on the screen, I have a Poly VVX 450 handset which is currently displaying a handset with a red cross next to it in the top left corner of the screen. The device does not display my extension and I cannot make calls from it. The handset with a red cross next to it is notifying us that the handset is not in service and is a good indicator that the phone has not been provisioned to a cloud telephony provider. In order to check, and if necessary, assign the correct provisioning server to our phone, we'll first need to find the IP address of the device. So to find your device's IP address, you're just going to select the menu key or the home key, scroll down to settings. You're then going to scroll down to status, scroll down to network, then you're going to select TCP IP parameters. Once you've selected this, the second line down will display the IP address that your device is using. So we're just going to make a note of that. Now that we've made a note of the IP address, we can then go to our internet browser and type in that IP address and browse to the phone's web GUI, where we can then investigate if the device has a provisioning server or the correct provisioning server and amend this as necessary. Now that we've got our IP address from our desk phone, the next thing we need to do is just ensure that the laptop or PC that we're using to browse to the phone's web GUI is on the same network as the phone. So to do that, we can just, on our Windows device, type in CMD for the command prompt. Then within this window we can type in ipconfig, all one word, press enter, and this will then display to us under the Ethernet adapter information. We can then see the IPv4 address that we've got for our desktop. So we know that this is now, or we know that this is on the same network as the phone. We can tell that by looking at the first three sets of digits. So the 192.168.222 specifically, you can see that there. And then the last set of digits after the last full stop decimal place is the unique address for the device. So the phone is on .33, my laptop is on .35. So now that I've typed in the phone's IP address, because that's what I need to browse to, I'm just going to press enter on my web browser. Just going to type in https://, try that again. And we then get a notification to say, so I'm using Chrome, this is just saying my connection is not private. I'm just going to select advanced and then just select proceed anyway. This then brings us into the web config utility portal, or the web GUI for the phone. And here we're going to be asked for the admin passcode. So the default admin passcode is 456. However, if we've had to previously factory reset this device, we would have likely had to change that from 456 to another passcode. Generally what we tend to do is just reverse the numbers. So if we have factory reset a device and 456 is not working, so if I type in 456, generally what we do is just reverse the numbers. So I'll just type in 654, press submit. We can see that's now let us into the web GUI for the device. However, if you factory reset the device yourself, it will be whatever you set the admin password to if you were prompted to change it. So now that we're logged in on the web GUI for our handset, what we need to do is then go to settings, and then we're going to scroll down to provisioning server. And what we can see within here is that there's currently no server address for this phone. So we need to input a server address. Now, depending on the telephony service provider, will define what service address you put in here. For this example, I'm going to put in 8x8, but if you're using Gamma Horizon, it will have its own server address. So to find 8x8's provisioning server, all we're going to do is open the web browser. I'm just going to type in 8x8 poly provisioning, and we see there's a 8x8 knowledge base article here which says manually provisioning a polyphone. Just going to open that. Got a bunch of instructions in here, but what we can see within here is change the server address, and then we can see a few different devices or a few different server addresses. The one that we want, because we've got a VVX 450, is this provisioning server here. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy that. I'm then going to come back to my phone's web browser, web GUI, and you can follow the instructions from this knowledge base article, but essentially what we're going to do is change the server type from FTP to HTTPS, and then we're going to, in the server address, we're just going to paste in that address that we found from the knowledge base article, which is just under the provision of phone into production. And again, it may be different depending on the type of device that you are provisioning, but if you are provisioning a Polycom VVX handset, then it will be the first provisioning profile, or any of the other devices that are mentioned here, SoundPoint, CCX, for example. So now that we've changed the server type to HTTPS and we've changed the server address, all we're going to do at the bottom there is click Save. Do you want to save the configuration changes? Yes, I do. And now that I've done that, what I need to do is restart the phone. So you can do that from the web GUI. Under the Utilities tab, you'll see we've got Restart Phone. So I'm just going to click that. You sure you want to restart the phone? And then the phone will restart. Once the phone has restarted, what we'll see is the device will start to potentially install firmware updates if required. And once it comes back, it's powered back on, we should then see the device update from being, a little displaying the VVX 450 on the line 1 to, in this case, changing to being inactive. So for 8x8, it displays on line 1 as inactive instead of displaying the Poly VVX 450 or device name that we're using. What that will then let us do from an 8x8 handset is activate the phone. So whereas before we couldn't do anything, now that we've provisioned this to 8x8, all we need to do is press the activate key, which will then contact 8x8, whereby we can input an activation key to register our user's extension to this particular handset. So this phone has now successfully been provisioned to 8x8. So in this video, we have demonstrated how to provision a unprovisioned Poly VVX device to a cloud telephony service provider. You may need to do this in the event that a phone has come to site and it's not been provisioned for whatever reason, or if you're repurposing an old device and you've previously factory reset it, you'll then need to go in and assign the provisioning server to say, okay, Poly, you are now going to work on 8x8's network. Thank you for watching this demonstration.